Chapter 17 Chapter 17 Part 2 Evangeline's POV. Logan's hand in mine sent sparks to erupt through my whole body. He gently led me outside the bedroom and into a very long hallway. The hallway had a red carpet extending from its beginning to its end. It had 2 golden lines along each of its sides, and it felt soft under my feet. I realized that there was only one room besides Logan's on this floor. The room was at a fair distance from Logan's room, not too far and not too close. There were also flower vases, one vase standing next to each of the bedroom doors. Their tops reached a few feet above the ground. "That's our baby's room," I heard Logan say from beside me. I didn't even realize that we had stopped walking. I looked at him in confusion, to which he just smiled. "That room," he said, pointing at the other room in the hallway, "will be the room our baby resides in when he or she comes." The thought of having a baby of my own made my heart flutter, and I couldn't keep from blushing at the thought about having a baby with Logan. "Come on, let's go," he said, tugging at my hand. He led me to a long staircase that was covered with a carpet similar to that of the hallway. The railing was a deep black color with swirls and circles carved into it. I slowly tried placing my hand on the railing as Logan and I descended the stairs. It was so smooth, as if covered in silk. As we stepped onto the last step of the stairs, my gaze was caught by a huge lobby-like living room. The walls were painted a fade shade of rose, the furniture and carpet matching perfectly. There was a sofa, 2 armchairs, and a love seat. They were made from black leather with pillows filling them. They were either red, white, or gray. A couple of colorful beanbags were scattered on the floor and around the coffee table present in the middle. There was a big screen TV hanging from the wall opposite to the sofa, the armchairs and love seat lying on the sides. To my right was a big mahogany double door, which I assumed was the front door of the pack house. To my left was a doorless room which Logan led me straight to. Upon entering, I realized that it was the kitchen. The kitchen was U-shaped with an island extending in the middle. The cupboards were maroon and had simple drawings of butterflies and leaves on them. They were lining the whole top part of the walls. They had an electrical stove built into the top one of the counters. The sink had a whole wall of its own, right at the back. Logan sat me down on one of the chairs around the island. "So, what do you want to eat?" he asked with a warm smile adorning his face. "Ice cream!" I yelled excitedly, but then I realized what I just did and hid half my face in the jumper I'm wearing from the embarrassment. Logan chuckled and sat on the chair next to me. "Okay, tell you what. I get to feed you something more appropriate as a breakfast, then you get to eat as much ice cream as you want, okay?" he said, as if talking to a kid. I nodded my head, still hiding half my face in the jumper. "So, what would you choose to eat?" he asked again as he left his seat and went to open the fridge. Can I have some cereal?" I asked hesitantly. I've been watching my old pack members eating it all the time, and I couldn't help but want to taste it. Logan looked at me from behind the fridge's door. "Sure," he replied with a grin. He took out the milk container and placed it on the island top next to me. He then reached for one of the cupboards and got out 3 boxes. He placed them in front of me. He then got 2 bowls and 2 spoons and placed them next to the boxes. "Okay, so these are the 3 types of cereal boxes that we have. Choose which one you want," he said as he took his seat back next to me. I looked at the 3 boxes in front of me. There was a box with Fruit Loops written on it, a box with Cocoa Pops written on it, and the third with Honey Delights on it. I never tried any of them, so I didn't know which one was the best. I knew I couldn't stand honey, so the one with Honey Delights on it was out. I didn't know which to choose from between the other 2, so I just placed some from each in my bowl. Logan looked at me with amusement on his face. "This is my first time seeing someone mix both these together," he said, with a surprised tone. I hid my face again in the jumper. "Sorry, I mumbled. I'm such an idiot. Why did I mix both? Now Logan might be disgusted from me and think I'm a freak. I was brought back from my thoughts as Logan said, Cool, I'll try it as well. He too mixed some from both into his bowl. Now it was my turn to look at him in amusement. He wasn't repulsed from what I did. He copied me instead. I was certain that other people would think weirdly of my actions, but not Logan. His gestures and actions toward me made me trust him and warm up to him more. He grabbed the milk container and poured some into my bowl and some into his. He looked at me and smiled warmly. I replied with one of my own. We then both started eating in silence. It wasn't the awkward one. On the contrary, actually, it was comfortable, and I liked how it felt, until Logan broke the silence. Eva, do you still not remember seeing me before? Doesn't it ring any bells? He asked, hesitantly, like he was afraid of my answer. Ever since I came, he kept on talking about us meeting before. It honestly doesn't ring a bell in my head, and guilt rushed through my gut. I didn't like the fact that I forgot meeting Logan before, and he seemed desperate for my remembrance. I shook at my head as I hung it down in shame. It's okay. I'm sure you'll remember when the right time comes. He smiled sweetly at me, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes, even if he wanted to hide it. After finishing our breakfast, Logan led us to the living room and sat me on the couch, his hand never leaving mine. I'll go get you the ice cream I promised. I'll be back in a minute, okay? I nodded as he made his way back to the kitchen. He came back with a plastic box and 2 spoons. You don't mind me sharing, do you? He asked in a mischievous tone as a smirk tugged at his lips. A small smile spread across my face as I choked my head. He took his seat next to me and placed the ice cream box, giving me one of the spoons. For the first time in my life, I'll get to taste the goodness called ice cream. I scooped a little with my spoon and slowly brought it to my mouth. The ice cream immediately melted on my tongue, and I couldn't help but moan in delight as its strawberry flavor filled my whole digestive system. Its creamy, cold texture sent tingles to erupt in my mouth and made me want more. I didn't hesitate to give my body what it wants and scooped another spoon. Soon I was attacking the ice cream like there was no tomorrow. I was hungry for such sweet things, and I never thought it would be possible. I heard chuckling resonate from beside me and looked to see a very amused Logan. I see you like it, he said, a smile still playing across his face. I felt my face heat him, and it was probably scarlet red by now, to which I immediately avoided his gaze. His index finger and thumb took hold of my chin, and he raised my face so my gaze would meet his. I'm glad you did, he said softly, which made my heart melt at that. Would you like to watch a movie while you eat? He asked. Hearing him say you eat made me feel a bit guilty. I probably looked like a hungry pig as I attacked that ice cream. He sure wanted to give the ice cream and I some space. I nodded my head at his proposal of watching a movie. He left his spot and made his way to the TV place and crouched down in front of it. Eva, which genre do you prefer? He asked as he rummaged through the many discs placed on the shelves. Anything but horror, I replied softly as I placed another spoon filled with ice cream in my mouth. It's not that I've been watching movies since I was born, but I've come across parts of some of the movies my old pack members were watching. I'd enter the living room to give them their food or drinks, and my eyes would catch a glimpse of a scene or two. These few times proved to me that I can't handle horror. Yes, got it, Logan exclaimed happily. We're watching Despicable Me. It's awesome, he informed me as he placed the disc inside the DVD player. I've heard about that movie before. It seemed nice, but, of course, I never got the chance to watch it. Logan sat down next to me and scooped a spoonful of ice cream before popping it into his mouth. The movie started seconds later, and the song that stuck into my head for weeks after overhearing it started. I'm having a bad day. I started humming the song quietly, but soon after heard a male echo sing with me. I looked beside me, and here he was, Logan, singing along with me. I didn't stop singing, though. We both sang together that small part, and a huge grin was plastered onto my face, followed by one from Logan. "I see you know this movie," he pressed, paused, and said as the song was over. It was short anyways. "Not really. My pack members were watching it once, and I overheard the song from the kitchen. It was stuck in my head for weeks," I replied. "Guess you just found a singing partner," Logan said and winked my way. My face flushed red, and I nodded along with embarrassment. I heard Logan chuckle. "Let's continue the movie," he said, and pressed on the play button. We both went back to watching the movie, laughing at most of it, awed by the little girls. I totally forgot about whatever fear and concerns I had, and genuinely enjoyed the movie. I even went as far as to talk to the characters and give commands like I was the director. Of course, Logan was just enjoying watching my reactions more than the movie itself. It was evident with how he chuckled or laughed at every comment I make, and how his body was now tilted so he was facing me. All in all, we were both enjoying ourselves. "The knights move 2 steps. The horse goes here," Logan said, explaining to me the rules of playing chess. After finishing the movie and 2 boxes of ice cream, Logan asked if I knew about chess. I didn't even know what he was talking about, so he took it upon himself that he would teach me, since it was his favorite board game, and so he took me to the game room. It was filled with all kinds of games, a TV set with both Wii and a PlayStation 3 next to it, a cupboard filled with board games, a twister mat lying on the floor. There was also a basketball hoop and a football table. But what really perked up my attention was a huge snakes and ladder mat, where you actually play with your own body, and not just some objects. It was folded and placed at a corner, and when Logan explained to me what it was, I felt my whole body itch to try it. However, Logan's chess game was obviously more important right now. He finished explaining all the rules and how to play, to which I just nodded to. 15 minutes later. "Checkmate," I stated, trying as hard as I can to contain my excitement. Winning an alpha in something wasn't a very good move, and the consequences were something I knew all too well. I can't believe this. You won. You actually won, on your first time, no less," Logan said, exasperated. He was still staring at the game like it just came to life. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, I swear. Let's play again. I'm sure there was some kind of mistake," I said, hesitantly. Logan's head snapped up to look at me. I felt his gaze soften as it met my own. "What are you talking about, Eva? Can't you see? You're very smart. Not anyone can win a chess game from the first time. Heck, it took me 2 weeks to win my first game. You should be proud of yourself," he replied to my rambling. He reached his hand and laced our fingers together. "Oh, but that won't mean that I won't request we play until I defeat you. I'm not leaving you off the hook, baby girl." He smirked and winked to me, which I, for the nth time, blush and hide half my face in the jumper. He started replacing the pieces back to their original place, and of course I helped, much to his dismay. "Again," he stated, as the pieces were back. I nodded, and we both started another round. Another 15 minutes later. Logan? I'm sorry, but checkmate," I said. Logan's eyes were as wide as saucers as he stared at his royal. Damn you! Damn you straight to hell!" he yelled in aggravation, as he held some of his pieces and shaking them up in the air. I couldn't help but laugh at his childish act, but confusion overtook. I won, again! Is that even possible? How can this happen? He whined. Again! He stated with determination as he started placing the pieces back. There was nothing else to do but nod. We played several times after it that I almost lost count. I think we remained in our same spots playing that game for what felt like a century, but Logan's reactions each time I win were what I was looking forward to the most. No pun intended. He was just hilarious in his childish ways. Ugh, he groaned in defeat and frustration as he laid on his back. It only took him seconds to rise back up. You know, I was actually being nice and making you win on purpose. I'll give you my best this time, so prepare to lose, he said confidently. He made me win on purpose? It sure didn't feel like it. Okay, I replied. I was actually enjoying this. Maybe chess will be my favorite game. We were about to start another round when our heads suddenly snapped to the door as we heard commotion coming from outside. Our gazes locked together, and I felt my eyes widen in surprise and confusion. Logan looked at his wristwatch, and his eyebrows creased in confusion too. They're early, he muttered and stood to his feet. I stood up too. Who's early? I asked as he took hold of my hand and made his way to the door. The tribe, he replied. I was amused with his choice of words, but that wasn't the time. He opened the door and we both made our way outside. We had to cross the living room and kitchen so we could reach the stairs that would lead to our floor. Logan was speed-walking, tugging me behind him. However, as expected, we were stopped midway with a frantic-looking man. I realized him as the beta, Jake. I hid half my body behind Logan, only a part of me visible, and one eye looking at Jake, my hand still holding onto Logan's. What's wrong, Jake? You guys are early, Logan asked. Rogues! They attacked the east side of our